こんにちは、佐々木芽生と言います。私は生命の森というテーマに取り組んでいるアーティストです。生命の森は私たち人間を含めた宇宙のすべての命がつながっていると考える一つのアイデアです。制作している作品は私のウェブサイトめばいささき .com から見ることができます。このビデオではプログラマーである神を前提とする宇宙シミュレーションモデルの物理学と哲学について見ていきたいと思います。このモデルについて仮想電子を介したプランク宇宙のプログラミングという記事の著者であるマルコム・マクラウドさんと一緒に話し合っていきます。神がプログラマーであることを前提としたマトリックスについての数学モデルに取り組んでいると思うんですけど、そのモデルについて教えていただけますか？
Well, the matrix is the term given to the idea that we're inside a computer simulation and that our reality is a simulated reality. It's often referred to as the simulation hypothesis. In the classic film, The Matrix, the programmers were AI robots, but these robots were still on the physical planet Earth. The programmer God approach, however, describes a full universe simulation down to the smallest detail.
でも神がそれをしているのか、もしくはしていない可能性があるのかについて参照する方法がないのかなと思ったんですけど。
I use the word God when defined as the creator of the universe. God could have snapped his fingers and created the universe, or God could have constructed the universe. If the universe was constructed, then we can try to analyze what construction technique a God might have used. I offered that this mathematical electron model is a potential candidate, with our universe resembling a computer simulation.
このモデルは数学的な宇宙を前提とするものだと思うんですけど、私たちが住んでいるのは物理的な宇宙です。その点についてはどう考えたらいいですか？
For most of us, science is the classical world around us, of objects we can pick up in our hands, planets and stars we see in the skies. But far below this world is the mysterious quantum world. We cannot define the quantum world in any classical sense. There is a third world far below the quantum world. It is seldom mentioned because science has no means to access it. And so it remains a theoretical world. It is called the Planck world. Now the Planck world is to the quantum world as the quantum world is to our world. In this model, the universe is a Planck universe. And so to understand both the quantum world and the classical world, we have to start with this Planck world. But the Planck world is a purely mathematical world.
その数学的な世界からどうやったらその物理的な世界を想像することができるかについてもう少し教えていただけますか？
Okay. I'm in a casino. I throw two dice. Now, if they both show sixes, I win. Otherwise, I lose. I throw again and again and again all day long. Now, having no watch, I measure time in throws of the dice. And so time for me is this digital 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, because each throw is a digital event. The frequency of a win event is 36. This means that I should win on average every 36 throws of the dice. Remember, these are digital events: lose, 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 win, lose, lose, and so on. In this Planck casino, we use frequencies, the frequency of these digital events. Now, at the end of the day, the casino manager looks at my data and calculates the probability of me winning as 1 over 36. Because he measures only my data averaged over time, he uses probabilities instead of frequencies. He doesn't care what happens to me at any one throw, whether I win or lose. Now, and likewise, the quantum world is this Planck world averaged over time. And so the quantum world uses probabilities. Any one person might hit the jackpot, but when combining thousands of gamblers over a long period, the manager can calculate the casino profits. This is our classical world because it deals in large samples. It can use statistics. And so while the quantum world applies probabilities to one electron, and we don't know what any one electron will do, but when we put a planet full of electrons together, then we get what seems to be a solid planet. But this solid planet is the statistical averaging of these billions and billions of quantum events. And these quantum events themselves derive from the frequency of digital Planck events. This is why we have problems understanding concepts like mass and gravity, because these events actually occur at the Planck level, and we are trying to understand them at our classical planetary level. And so, just as I win or lose with every throw of my dice, so too the electron has mass or doesn't have mass with every throw of the cosmic dice. And so, for example, the formula E equals mc squared is misleading because that m is average mass, mass averaged over time, and not actual electron mass. We associate gravity with planets and stars. We talk about how mass bends space and time and so on, how gravity is very weak. But here gravity only occurs between individual particles at the Planck level as they rotate each other. It doesn't occur between planets and stars. And at the Planck level, gravity is stronger than the electric or magnetic forces. But gravity, like me winning at a casino, is a digital event that seldom occurs. And so to our classical worldview, where mass is averaged over time, gravity seems weak.
科学は物理的な宇宙をシミュレートすることができたとしても、今の科学では宇宙を想像することはできません。このモデルが基礎の科学が前提としていることとどのような違いがあるのかについて教えてください。
Our simulations of the universe require supercomputers, and these supercomputers use numbers, but numbers carry no specific information. Does this number refer to the speed of light or to apples? And so we need to supply additional information, a descriptive, whether meters per second or apples. Also, numbers store no history. Where did the number 42 come from? Was it 50 minus 8, 30 plus 12? Our system of units, pounds and kilograms, meters and miles, the second, and so on, are earthbound units. If we meet aliens, they won't measure the speed of light as we do. They will have their own system of measurements. The point I wish to make is that we cannot make a physical universe using numbers. To solve this problem, in this model, God chose geometrical shapes. These are universal. A circle is a circle, regardless of which galaxy you come from. If the object for length encodes the function of length, then I don't need to include a descriptive such as meters or miles. And if this length object can then combine with the objects for mass, time, and charge, then we can combine them to form more complex objects such as apples and galaxies, while still retaining all the underlying geometrical information. The apple is constructed Lego style from these objects for mass, space, and time. At the Planck level, these objects are quite simple. Mass is a point, time is a rotation, length comes from a torus, which looks like a donut. Yet they are the scaffolding around which our universe is built.
例えば私と月の間の距離がこれらの長さのオブジェクトを使用して構築されている場合に、それは物理的な距離になっていると思うんですけど、そこはどう考えたらいいですか？
The object for length is the surface area of a torus. Let's say that we have A and B separated by 8 units of length. However, length is a torus surface area. There is no length as we understand it. There is no straight line between A and B. I put a picture of the Mona Lisa on my display. Asking how big is that picture is a question with no meaning, because it's just a series of pixels and each pixel is assigned a color. Those length torus are equivalent to pixels on a computer display. A and B are 8 pixels apart. There are billions and billions of pixels between you and that coffee cup. Now, in the tennis game, the ball is not traveling across the screen. The colors of that ball jump pixel to pixel until they reach the other side of the display. However, in the computer video card, the pixels are not separated by a physical distance. Each pixel is assigned a memory address on the video card. There is no physical distance between pixels. However, because the tennis players are themselves part of the pixel world, and they also are just colors on my screen, and so for them my laptop display is the real world. Likewise, the pixels that make up our universe have more information than just color. They include mass, space, and time. and particles like electrons and protons attach to those mass space-time pixels. And so when I hit a tennis ball, the particles and electrons, protons that make up that ball, they jump pixel to pixel to pixel as the ball travels across the court. Distance, which we measure in meters and miles, is simply how we perceive our pixel world. The fastest we can jump from pixel to pixel across the universe is the speed of light.
質量、空間、時間は依然として物理的な単位として考えられていて、それがこの世界を物理的な世界として定義する方法になっていると思うんですけど、その点についてはこのモデルではどう説明できますか？
Well, mass, space, and time are geometrical objects derived from that pixel, and so if I build a universe pixel by pixel, then I can't make mass or space or time independently of each other, because for every pixel I make, I get a unit of mass, space, and time. And so if I need 10 minutes of time to watch this video, then I have to make 10 minutes of pixels. And this means that I also end up with more mass and space as well. And so as I watch this video, the universe is getting larger and more massive correspondingly. The key point for God was to choose these objects of mass, space, and time so that they work together. Length needs mass as mass needs time, and so on. It is this interconnectedness that comes across as a physical universe. But these mass, space, and time objects are still just mathematical formulas, and so we really are just geometrical objects inside this world of geometrical objects. But this means that when seen from the outside, our universe is no more real than a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Our universe seems physical only because we look at it from the inside. At our planetary level, mass, space, and time are distinct units. We cannot measure the distance from New York to London in kilograms or pounds. But at the Planck level, the distinctions
じゃ
disappear.
あビッグバンと呼ばれている現象はこのモデルが示唆するシミュレーションが始まった時っていうことですか？
So yes, the universe began with one pixel. Now the universe had a unit of mass and space. It also meant time had begun. Since then, the universe has been growing pixel by pixel for the last 14 billion years. One day the simulation will end. If the universe then starts to shrink pixel by pixel, time will reverse until the universe disappears. Now a black hole expands, a white hole, which is just the inverse of a black hole, shrinks. And so our black hole universe could be fed by a shrinking white hole twin.
私のコンピューターのディスプレイのピクセルは画面上にデータを映し出しますが、それらは物理的なピクセルなんですよね。でこのモデルでいうところのピクセルは宇宙シミュレーションの一部としてのピクセルか、現実の世界としてのものか、あるいは両方ですか？
That tennis game is just ones and zeros, data stored on my hard disk. The players cannot know anything about my computer hard disk, for it is not of their simulation world, it is of the real world. And so if we are a video game, then we can look for an interface between our data world and the real world. We can measure the surface of a black hole, which means it is of our world, but there is no inside to a black hole. It is where the laws of physics break down. There is no physical universe inside a black hole. Science calls this the singularity. I conjecture that the pixel is a Planck black hole. It is where our simulation world meets with the real world.
じゃあ宇宙のそのコードをハックして水をワインに変えることは可能なんですか？
Well, this mass, space, and time and electrons, they're all geometrical objects. In the atom, the electron orbits the proton because of geometrical imperatives. That is the way they're shaped. Because they have a fixed shape, their orbits are regular. And so we can make formulas to describe those orbits. We call these formulas the laws of physics, but these formulas are just a description of what we're observing. Science is all about reproducing results. We have a hypothesis that water will boil at 100 degrees, and so far this hypothesis seems correct. Any event that cannot be reproduced is not science, but there's no reason why the simulation source code is limited to the laws of physics. Anything the programmer put in that universe source code is permitted. We don't know what we or the universe is capable of. And this could be good news for those who like their wine.